I mean, it's one of those things you have to look at what you saw today and kind of digest it and then go into tomorrow morning and figure out what might go, or how do you play this one?
Well, a little bit. This is a lot of why I want guys comfortable playing different positions and with different personnel. We have a decision to make for tomorrow's lineup, but yet we have to have peak performance in practice today, so we don't want any negative psychology coming in with even our own players. And so when you look at the practice, that's factored in. We don't need to get to our lines for tomorrow. Our guys there's many higher priority things to emphasis in that practice today rather than actually who's playing with who. So we needed their attention somewhere else, and within the details of what we did and some of the stuff we talked about, showed video before practice, talked about before practice, going into the practice, that were high priority compared to who's playing with who.
Do you like having a longer road trip like this early in the season just to get the guys together, get them out, maybe get a guy like Blagushkin, let them get to know everybody a little bit better? Do you like having it early in the year?
Yeah, I like the potential of it for the reasons you have that camaraderie. Much like we saw the other night, we need to be challenged. We do not. Unfortunately, you can't take over where you left off last year. We were in a pretty good groove and a pretty good sync last year. Things started to feel easy only because of all the work the guys put in. Now we got to put that work back in because it all went away. And so we're starting to, with a younger team, you kind of learn that you don't just flip a switch when you come back in October and it all works like it did in April. So this, I'll judge this trip about, not the camaraderie and team building, but how well we work toward that initiative. And there's going to be, you go into 4 different buildings that are tough buildings to play in. It's a hell of a challenge, and we need to be challenged because we're nowhere near where we were in rhythm and sync like we were at the end of last year. But from the camaraderie standpoint, it's always nice to get guys on the road, even the coaches. It's just you and nobody else. It's your 23 guys and the staff, and all day long together is a real bonus.
What was your thought on the first 2 games for Dowling? I mean, 25 minutes a night, he's engaged, he's scored both games.
Yeah, I think it's easy to see why he's wearing an A. And when you watch those 2 games, he's feisty and competitiveness went through, and his expectation to score, and to get the results of success, and that's a key difference. He has a better sense of objective of how to go about that, and not compromising defending. Not the old saying is cheating for offense. He's doing it the right way, and hard to play against, and that's obviously been very impressive the first 2 games.
And on the flip side, you want to obviously get your top offensive players going. I mean, guys, when they see that 0 and it gets to game 3, 4, 5, they might press a little. What do you want to see from Thompson, Skinner?
Work. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but work. Just work through it. I talked to the guys this morning that you don't anybody sway and convince yourself that you're down on confidence. Nothing is a confidence issue. To me, it's a determination issue. So just looking and reflecting on players that you've had over the years, the determined ones always push through, and their confidence never takes a hit. They are determined. They're going to be successful, and we have to have that type of an approach, as you said, to guys that are accustomed to scoring that maybe have no points in the first 2 games. Elevate your determination, and that is that is confidence, knowing that it'll happen. And so I don't really worry about our guys long term. We'll support our guys to that initiative that they score, put them in spots to score. There's not going to be a change in power plays because they don't score. We'll push them harder, but they're going to be able to do it. I'm confident of that. Like I said, the instinct is the subconscious. You think it just starts where you left off last year. We're finding out it doesn't happen. So just battle through and it'll work out.
Teams found a little of this last year, playing against the other team's best defensive pair, which he's going to find a lot more this year, especially on the road when they can get him out there. I was chatting with him today, and he said you just got to wear him down and get to a point where and I've heard you say this before, you're not going to score every shift, but that doesn't mean the shift is unsuccessful type of thing. It's what you were just talking about, what he needs to do when he's going to be fighting up against the best the other team has, game in and game out, just, keep pushing through it.
Yeah, I would assume he would have that, especially if we have Tuck with him. If you split Tuck and Thompson up on lines, that I would think be a little bit more of a juggernaut for other teams, where they might put their top pairing D. But when they're on the same line, it's an easy choice for me. If you're the opposing team, you're just going to put your top D pair against the two of them. So, but yes, I think Tomer, that's the area of growth that young players and inexperienced players have. That's experience, gaining experience. Most young players, you jump over the boards and you're just trying to score. But you have 20 shifts in a game, you can't score 20 goals. So stop trying to score. Actually read a play and figure out what needs to happen in this particular play. That's playing efficient, where you start to wear on the other team instead of wearing yourself out. And just looking at the game the other day, there were lots of little increments in the game that we showed some on film where we did things that will eventually wear us out, and they were our decisions. Just pressing for offense, cheating. It's unnecessary, and we'll work as we did a year ago. That'll clean itself up, and we'll be more efficient and effective because of it. Tomer knows that because he's faced the best last year, and he knows he's going to have to do that again this year if he wants to score.
This is game 3, so most of the time everything's going to be about you guys. But how much does it change that game 3 happens to be against McDavid?
It changes. It does. It's the top players in the league. You have to. Definitely they command the respect. You have to talk about them as a coach and a team. You want to minimize how much you talk about them, but you do, and they have more than just McDavid. Draisaitl has earned that respect as well, and so yes, that's a big challenge. You typically shut down top players, you increase your chances of winning significantly, and that will definitely be the case tomorrow.
What has been Ilya's impact through the first 2 games? Obviously, he's been extremely physical.
Yeah, he's a great team guy behind the scenes. I think he gives the group around them more confidence, more security, because he is willing to play. He plays with a lot of bite and grit, and that is seen and felt by the rest of his teammates. You can see it on the bench. You can feel it on the bench. So, we want him to be as physical as he wants to be. We will adjust what we need to from a system standpoint to allow him to be physical. We think that's an important part of his game, an important part of what we need and we can add to our lineup over a season ago.
So he's allowed to ask him to flourish defensively.
He has made himself a more intelligent player. Back again, I hate to keep saying it, but he has become more efficient, by virtue more effective. He knows and reads situations better. He knows that 30 seconds into a shift, you got to make different decisions because fatigue's a factor. He knows maybe that his 2 defensemen behind him need to get off because they were on the ice for 40 seconds when he got on. So his decisions are based on that rather than trying to, toe drag a guy and make a move while 2D are changing behind him. So there's lots more detail in his game that have brought a greater calm to him and enabled him to be more of a presence within our lineup.
He said he's put in a lot of work on that end of the ice because he knows that's what he needed to become a more regular NHL player. What do you notice when you see that kind of work put in by somebody that's that?
Anytime a guy puts that much work in, you develop a respect for him as a coach. He's willing to pay attention to details, willing to commit to getting jobs done that helps you win hockey games. And Aspie has done that and continues to do that, and we'll continue to challenge him because the beauty of this sport is there's never something you can't challenge a guy with as a coach. There's always something more you can push for, and he's well aware of that too. He's a very hungry guy, and I would imagine we're going to continue to see his growth.
Do you feel you need to see improvement on the entries on your power play?
We have talked about that a lot, Paul. So that's an area that we are looking at and have looked at significantly. We'll continue to look at it. The second unit is, if you go back through it is probably way more effective than the first unit. First unit is lots of times you're trying to rely on your own skill because you have confidence because of your skill, and it's counterproductive at that point. You've got to enter that zone more methodically. And our second unit has done a better job, I would suspect, than our first in that.
Don, your first answer today talked about the importance of performance level in practice and being ready for games. Do you think that today's player is a little more aware and in tune with the importance of practice and self-evaluation in practice to be ready for the next game? I bring it up because Craig Anderson talked to us last week. He was very open about how he was very unhappy with one of his own practices right before the season started and then managed to get back in a good place. And it just really stood out as someone so aware of everything that goes into preparation.
I think players today correlate practice with game success much more than years ago. I think years ago it was just, I'm talented, you're not. If we're talking about toward the one end of the spectrum, it doesn't matter how hard you practice, I'm more talented. And I think we as coaches way back when divided that too, from first line to fourth line type of thing. But now I think the players that grows up, they're all become somewhat dependent on skills coaches and skill work, and so through practices they see that as a way to better their position in games. And there's no question through my coaching career that has been a major shift. For us, just to go a little further on that, for us, I know our guys, if we've set a standard about practicing harder, I've told our guys that that's not good enough anymore. That now the in-game standard is what we're focusing on. That has to elevate. So that practice intensity that we have, and I love, is that they should practice that hard. So we're not patting each other on the back for practicing hard anymore. That doesn't work for us. And it's more intensity in the game, more adamant about. Mike started out talking about Darlene. That's why we love Darlene so much. He elevates that puck drop, 7 p.m. There's a whole other level, and that's what we need more of.